And of course, the reds and the greens are extracts of fruits and vegetables. They say red and green, but actually it's many colors, and we benefit from the phytonutrients in the reds and the greens. And this is especially the case for people who don't eat enough servings of fruits or vegetables during the day. And kids are notorious for this. People who are always in a rush are notorious for not getting all the nutrition that they need. And this it certainly is not as good as eating fruits and vegetables. It's always best to get your dietary sources from nature, but all of us have some holes, and these will fill in the holes. Nathan Lewis, who works over in the UK, who trains Olympic athletes, that loves this product because even his athletes benefit from the phytonutrients that they get from the reds and the greens. So it really depends what you want to do. Not everybody needs a caffeine push. See, there's a medical answer and there's a legal answer. And depending on which jurisdiction and which country you're in, we may or may not have the right to market this to children. So this is a legal explanation. A medical explanation is that certainly the reds and greens could be eaten by any age group. But will you want to give the energy booster? Do you want to give caffeine to someone who is 7 or 8 years old? Probably not. So if you're old enough to be drinking coffee, well, then you're old enough to be taking the energy booster, which is going to be a lot healthier than a cup of coffee. In both of these boosters, we find selenium. And the reason why we find selenium there is mostly because it acts as a glutathione booster. See, the most important enzyme of glutathione is something called glutathione peroxidase, which is highly active in our body. Glutathione peroxidase is a combination of the glutathione molecule and selenium. So selenium is definitely in there. The point is that the boosters, although you can take them alone, you certainly can take the boosters alone, the reds and the greens or the energy. Ideally, you want to take them with Immunocal, because what you're doing is the Immunocal is supplying the glutathione precursors, and the NRF2 activator is supercharging the production of glutathione. Not only that, the boosters, when you're mixing up your Immunocal, when you mix them with the booster, they mix much easier, and you can do it with just regular water because the boosters are flavored. If you have high blood pressure, you can take the reds and greens with no problem. When we're looking at the energy booster, because it is somewhat stimulating, some people, and it's not all people, but some people with high blood pressure might find that their blood pressure goes up a bit. Now, most people who have high blood pressure do have, or at least they should have, a blood pressure cuff at home. And many people with high blood pressure are measuring their blood pressures daily or even several times a day. If you do that, you take the Immunocal Energy Performance Booster and see what it does to your blood pressure. It may not do anything. So if it does give you a little bump, sure, you could try half of a package, but just monitor it and see. Most people will not have a problem with their high blood pressure, but we mention this because we are a responsible company and we want our consumers to be educated about what they're putting into their body. Well, the Red Bull is just one source of caffeine. It's an artificial caffeine that will not give you prolonged energy, but you're also taking something that's loaded with a lot of other things that you probably could do well without, like either high amount of sugar in there or a high amount of artificial sweeteners in there. Both of them are not good for your health. And there's some other components to Red Bull that are questionable. At least you know that when you're taking our product, you're taking something that's actually good for you. The NRF2 booster, there are companies whose only product is an NRF2 booster because of the importance of NRF2 in our health. The NRF2 gene is called a survival gene. This is our survival gene. It helps us deal with all kinds of physical challenges. So there's no comparison. One is good for you and one is not. People with thyroid problems should not have a problem unless they're severely hyperthyroid. And most people are hypothyroid. They have low thyroid. People with high thyroid tend to be tuned very high. They have a high heart rate. They may have high blood pressure. They may run at a higher temperature. They have heightened metabolism. So I would probably avoid it in hyperthyroidism. But most people are suffering from hypo or low thyroid, and in which case you probably feel better taking the booster.